What's going on, you gamers? Here we are back with some more Diablo 2 Resurrected, and today I'm going to be going over what are my top 3 choices for the most overpowered, quite easy to make runewords in the game. So if you want to know what some absolutely top tier runewords are, that for their actual runes used for them are amazing and really easy to make, then stay tuned. That's coming up next. Welcome back, you guys and girls. As always, for all things gaming, for all things Xbox, then why not hit that subscribe and bell icon? I'll bring you all the latest and greatest in gaming, hints, tips, guides and builds, and just some fun gameplay and reviews of upcoming games for the Xbox. But for today, I'm here to go over my 3 choices on runewords that I think are quite easy to make and are absolutely overpowered for what they give you. So coming in at my number 3 pick, it's going to be this one right here, and that is the runeword Smoke. Comprising of just 2 runes, a Nef and a Lum. Although the Lum is a little bit harder to obtain, you can get it from the Hell Countess with a little bit of luck and a bit of grinding, but it is definitely worth having, as this can really set you up for Nightmare and can even be something you'll be using all the way through Hell unless you manage to get a better drop. Now this comes with plus 20% faster hit recovery, plus 75 enhanced defense, so I would really recommend putting in something with a lot more defense than I did initially, and plus 280 defense versus missiles, meaning you've got a nice bit of damage mitigation going on. It also gives you plus 10 to energy, but the biggie that we're after more than anything, like I said, if you're moving up those ranks, you're doing the higher difficulties, all resistances plus 50. This is just absolutely massive, a really nice buff, and can really help you if your resistances are lacking. It gives you -1 to light radius, which, to be perfectly honest, not the be all and end all, and of course level 6 weaken, which can be nice to use on those single targets if you feel like they're going to be doing a bit of damage to you. It's going to weaken them, making you not get hit quite as hard, but in all honesty, you're definitely not after it for that level 6 weaken, or probably most of the other stats. You're mainly after it for those all resistances plus 50, which just really helps to boost your overall build. Like I said, the Lum can be a little bit harder to get hold of, but all in all, a Nef and a Lum isn't too hard to get hold of, and Smoke is just a great runeword to have on your build for Nightmare onwards. Next up, and a bit of a changeover, but this one's going to be going over a runeword that's absolutely amazing to create for your mercenary. And that's this one just here, Insight. Now this one has to be put on a poleaxe or a stave, but in general it's just absolutely amazing and can really help your main character out. Maybe a little bit more aimed towards caster classes, but ultimately a great runeword to help your main class in most situations. Now for this one you're going to need a poleaxe or a stave, and you're going to need 4 sockets. Also you're going to need to have a Rao, a Tear, a Tau and a Soul in order to create that Insight runeword. So the main reason you're going to be using Insight is for the level 17 meditation aura when equipped. This is going to make sure that your mana is topped up pretty much at all times. It's really going to help you out, and you're not going to have to worry about burning through those mana potions quite as much, because when you're using those skills, this right here is going to pop your mana all the way back up again, pretty much in all situations. It really does do a lot of regen, and you can really notice the difference when you've got a companion or haven't got a companion on, or he's fell over. You really start to notice how much you're burning through those potions without this. It also gives plus 35% cast rate, 244% enhanced damage, which is nice for a little bit of damage on your mercenary, plus 9 to minimum damage, plus 9 to minimum damage, 192% bonus to attack rating, adds 5 to 30 fire damage, plus 75 poison damage over 5 seconds, plus 4 to critical strike, plus 5 to all attributes, plus 2 to mana after each kill, and 23% better chance of getting magical items. So as you can see, there's an absolute beast wall of text. And even the 23% better chance of getting magical items, because if your mercenary does get the kill, that will add on top of whatever magic chance you've got, that can also prove beneficial. Like I said, Insight is just an amazing one to have on your mercenary, and it can be one that you'll use all the way through to endgame. Last but definitely by no means least, and we're coming over to Spirit. This one right here is just very possibly the most used word in the game. It's just so good. You can make one of them really early on, you can use them all the way through to endgame. It's absolutely ridiculously powerful for the runes that it involves. In order to create this rune word, you're going to need either a sword or a shield, but the great thing about this rune word is that you can put it on both then, and pretty much like I have here, I've got it in both slots, meaning that I'm going to benefit from it twice with a slight variation, because each one has slight differences to it. So the main one you'll probably be making early on will be the spirit for the sword. You can actually get a crystal sword very early on. Probably just as you've hit Nightmare, you'll be able to create this by going back into the cows level on normal. You can really nicely and really easily create this, and it's something that gives you a massive buff. If some cases, if you're like me and you aren't able to find really nice runes, or you're just not able to pick something up that's better for your class, you may well be using this all the way through to endgame and even at endgame for quite some time. Now, like I said, the ideal one to use for it is probably a crystal sword, but I used a dimensional blade because that's all I had at the time. Spirit is comprised of a Tau, a Full, an Alt and an Am rune. Now, if you're using it on your sword, you're going to get +2 to all skills, +25 to 35% faster cast rate depending on how lucky you are. Obviously you're going to try and get it to that top end if possible, +55% faster hit recovery, which is actually really nice. Adds 1 to 50 lightning damage, adds 3 to 14 cold damage with a 3-second duration, +75 poison damage over 5 seconds, 7% life stolen per hit, so again really nice if you're using that melee class, +250 defense versus missiles, +22 vitality and +89 to 112 to mana. You're also going to get +3 to 8 magic absorb. Obviously there are a few that varies, but in general this just gives you an absolutely huge wall of text for the runes that's involved. This is very possibly the most overpowered rune word you can create in the game for how simple it is to create. Now obviously that's for the sword. The shield is a little bit tougher to create and you will probably only be making this one in hell. But again, it's something that is endgame viable, and those runes are just crazy easy to get hold of. The only thing that's a little bit harder is to actually get the base. Now I've got a few videos out and such to show you if you need to know how to get that, but in general you're going to be looking out for a white monarch if you can on your travels and chuck it straight into your stash. Make sure that you've got it on hell difficulty, because that way you'll be able to roll it at Larzuk and get those 4 sockets. But again, this gives you +2 to all skills, +25 to 35% faster cast rate, +55% faster hit recovery, +250 defense versus missiles, +22 to vitality, 89 to 112 to mana, cold resist 35, lightning resist 35 and poison resist 35%. So it gives you some great elemental resists as well. +3 to 8 magic damage absorb, and attacker takes damage of 14. All in all, chucking these two into your build really helps you out, and honestly if you chucked all 3 of these onto your build, you would be well on your way to making yourself very endgame viable, and then you just have to have a bit of luck about yourself and find some uniques that you want to swap in and swap stuff out. Now the Spirit Shield is definitely one of the best rune words you can create for how easy it is to actually get hold of those runes. Even though it's a bit of a struggle to get hold of that shield sometime, it's well worth knowing and it's well worth creating, because you may well be using this all the way up to endgame and just never swapping it off of your build. Now remember, if you are struggling to get hold of one of those white monarch shields, in the time being why not bop on one of these, an Ancient's Pledge. Really easy to make. You need a 3-socket shield, which you can get at Chassis or normal. You can get these really easy. You're only going to be using it for the resist more than anything else, but it can really help you until you can get hold of that monarch shield. So this comprises of a 3-socket shield, a Rao, an Alt and a Tau. It's going to give you +50% defense, cold resist +43, lightning resist 48, fire resist 48 and poison resist 48. With 10% damage taken goes to your mana. As you can see, the main reason you got this on is just for the resists, so if you are struggling, if you need to chuck something on for your resists, in the meantime use this until you can manage to get hold of the monarch that you want or the shield that you want in order to create that spirit rune word. Well, you gamers, that's my 3 top picks for rune words that I think are quite easy to create and well worth knowing about and well worth having on your build. These will definitely set you on the right track and can make life a lot easier for yourself. As always, for all things gaming, for all things Xbox, take care. I'll see you on the next day.